Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2024 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid in the XSE trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 225/55 Goodyear tires wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Acidic Blast, which is an interesting name. It is an interesting color though. Really like it, especially on this type of vehicle. Gives it that kind of adventurous look. So here in the front, there is the big grille, gloss black and flat black grille. Also, I like the way the Toyota emblem is kind of blacked out. It's kind of not so chrome and in your face. It's kind of blending in nicely. Looks really good. That also serves as the radar adaptive cruise control sensor. There's also parking sensors across the front as well. You can see them integrated here as well as the body colored portion. Now there's LED headlights and there's also LED fog lights, and they're both projectors. So it's a projector system for the low and high beams, have the same projector. And we'll look at it at night in the night video, so you can check that out. You'll notice it also has the two-tone gloss black roof, including the pillars here on the front. And the side mirrors are also gloss black. Now the pillars here, B-pillar, is a flat black. Kind of interesting. I wish that was gloss black to kind of solidify the glass a little bit, especially when you tint the front glass. And the handles are body colored. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity system. It does have the ability to power lift the lift gate, lock, unlock, and a panic button here. Let's go ahead and press that panic button. It's kind of like a little bit of a wimpy horn. But the key's designed where you can just use the vehicle 100% without taking it out of your pocket or your bag. It has the lock right here, locks the doors, little sensor right there, and to unlock it, you put your hand behind the handle. So it's pretty typical with a lot of vehicles on the road now. There's also a physical key location here on the driver's side only. The door is going all the way to the bottom, and then they have a seal right here to seal it up. Keeps this threshold area a lot cleaner, so they don't get your clothes dirty and stuff like that. Okay, so the inside is mostly black. It does have some chrome accents as well. So this is all black. This is like an injection molded type soft touch surface here. This is hard touch, and then this is soft touch, and it's not very soft. It's kind of hard on the elbow sometimes, but it is soft surface, I guess, like a vinyl type material. And the rest of it is a hard touch. And this kind of passes through here as a handle, and then you have the pockets there at the bottom. The threshold doesn't have any kind of fancy seal plates or anything. Manually adjusted seat here on the passenger side. The seats have this SofTex, which is a simulated leather material here, and then a cloth, like a microfiber type cloth material there in the center. And they are pretty dang comfortable and look good. Now, the SofTex material actually holds up really nicely. You see a lot of used vehicles come in, and these seats just hold up really good, this material anyway, and they clean up nice as well. Require a lot less maintenance than like regular leather. And there is the legroom, lots of legroom. Extends down, the floor extends down quite a bit, and just give you a wide open space here in the passenger side. And the center console doesn't really impede much. The door doesn't impede much. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. So there is a hard touch surface there and a non-locking glove compartment with smooth plastic on the inside. Big glove compartment too. That's huge. And then have like a rubbery soft surface here, and this is a hard touch surface up here. Non-reflective, but hard touch. And this right here has like the chrome accent, looking pretty cool. I really enjoy vehicles that you can get in and out very easily, and this is one of those type of vehicles. The opening is wide, the seat height off the ground is like you just get right in, you're not climbing up, you're not dropping in. It's like perfect height to get in and out. And I really appreciate all the room they give you here in the front. The back door, the swing of the door is decent. It could be a little bit better, but you'll notice that the headroom is fine, but this area right here is a little bit tighter than the front. It's quite a bit tighter. So, it's not a huge deal. It's definitely not a problem really for most people, but I just want to point that out. So it does have the privacy glass, and the back door is basically all black, just has that handle there. and we have hard touch surfaces pretty much everywhere except for right here, and that's like almost as hard as the rest of it. It has this little pocket right there and a cup holder, which is pretty cool. It's kind of right there where your hand would be. Once again, no seal plate. The doors go all the way to the bottom. SofTex seats back here. Cup holders and armrest, which this armrest is very soft. I wish all the armrests were this soft. And that flips up. Now it does have the latch system for car seats, and it has these little plastic covers that just pop right off. So it's really easy to lose this type of stuff. So just be prepared to have a place for those when you're using a car seat. You notice these seats are less contoured, a little bit more flat. There is a pocket on the back of the passenger seat, but not the driver's seat. There's some climate control vents back here, and there's also 2 USB charge ports down at the bottom, USB-C charge ports. And the floor has a small hump. You know, it's not a huge hump there in the middle, but it is there. And the seats, the floor goes way down in there, so it gives you, your knees are not going to be sticking up in the air so much here in the back. I mean, you have a full seat and a pretty good drop on the seat. It's like sitting in a chair. And it's basically like a bench seat where you can, you know, get in and slide all the way through the middle, but you can fold it down in a 60-40 split. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has the gloss black roof, of course, but also has that matte black rails, gloss black antenna there in the center. The third brake light is at the top of the glass right in here, and it's just underneath that rear spoiler, which is also gloss black. It does have a rear wiper, and it has the blacked out badging back here. LED taillights back here as well. Now the backup camera is once again offset and kind of tacked on here with the tag. Not all that great. Down here is reflectors, not turn signals. There is parking sensors back here, just like the front. The exhaust is not very well hidden. It's right there, easy to see. It's not a big deal, but something to mention, I guess. So the key, you can use the key to use the power liftgate, or you could just press this button under here. Now, I don't know if you notice, just under here, right here, is like this little symbol. It also has it right here. So I guess that's like the Toyota Corolla symbol or something. If all the seats are occupied with passengers, this is the cargo space. And it has the shade that you can retract. You can also take this shade out if you need to. It kind of gets in the way sometimes, but it's not a big deal. You do have a lot of room back here. A lot of room. There's a little cubby here on each side to kind of wedge some more stuff. A little storage compartment there, kind of shallow right in here, but it has a hard plastic, so whatever you put back here, it's going to be sliding around. There is a bag holder here. Really like the bag holders. You can see there on the left as well. And there's a light, a single light, and we'll see what it looks like in the night video, how well that works. There's a subwoofer, and the sound system is pretty decent. There's another cubby here on the side. This center part lifts up. It's kind of like a very thin floor, but it has this huge styrofoam piece that it's resting on. And there's no spare tire. It just has this tire inflator kit. And let's lift this up so you can see there's some high voltage wiring and stuff back here. So probably might be able to put a tire here, probably not. I don't know exactly, but that high voltage wire really does cause a problem with doing that. We do have some additional storage inside, little compartments here in the styrofoam. Now, of course, you can fold these seats down. It's a 60-40 split. You can take the shade out, fold one seat or the other to add to your cargo space, or you can take shade out, fold both seats down, and have a wide open spot back here. Now, there's 2 buttons to lower the power liftgate. You can, of course, just press this button to lower it, or you can press this button to lower it, then lock the vehicle. Comes down very soft and slow. There's a locking fuel door, and it's here on the driver's side. and it's a traditional cap, tether, and a little place to hang the cap here on the inside of the door. As long as the key's inside the vehicle, to start it up, you just press the brake and hold it, and then press this button. Now, this is a hybrid vehicle, so you're not going to always hear the engine start. Like right now, there's no engine starting. Now, it does have the climate control and all that stuff when the engine's not running, but you know, it does say ready right here to let you know that it's ready to drive, but it's a hybrid, so the engine's not going to start up. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now, you notice the floor mat hooks in place here and here, keeping it straight and keeping it from sliding around on you. Now, these are like the all-weather mats, which are really nice. There's the accelerator, brake pedal, and a footrest. Now, you notice the mats cover up this crease right here and cover up all the way up here. So yeah, they do a really good job of keeping the floorboard clean and easy to clean when it does get dirty. Okay, let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch a little bit to the right of center, so right in here. Just reach in, move it to the left, and lift up. Now, it's kind of a heavy hood, steel hood, and it does require a prop to hold it up. The prop is on the underside of the hood, and you swing it down to right where that arrow is pointing. This little notch right there. So there's some insulation under the hood. There's also seal across the back and the front. It's not 100% sealed up, but it does control the airflow and some noise. It has the Corolla Cross little symbol right there, kind of neat. So they're kind of including that in different places. So this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, but you notice the engine is positioned like a front-wheel drive. You can see the front of the engine here, back of the engine there, and it has an eCVT transmission. So it is, you get the CVT experience, but it's electronically controlled. So I guess that's the short answer there. There's some heat shielding back there because the exhaust is back there, and then there's some insulation there on the firewall as well. And you notice there's quite a bit of space between the engine and the firewall, so good amount of room here in the engine bay. The inside of the driver's door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. Power windows here, it's one touch up and down, so you can go down quite fast, come up quite fast. And the back windows, same thing, one touch down, they go all the way down, and one touch up, and they go all the way up. Some vehicles have it limited to where the windows only come down to like here or something. That's why I mentioned that. Side mirrors are adjusted here. You just pick a side and adjust it like a little joystick. There's also on the side mirrors, they're heated side mirrors, but the blind spot detection system and rear cross traffic glare indicator is right on the mirror. There, the engine just started. Okay, so there is the power seat. It does have a height adjustment as well, tilt back here, and then the two-way lumbar adjustment as well. So yeah, once again, pretty comfortable seats. Hadn't had any problem with them. To the left of the steering column, we already saw the fuel door release. This is the open up the power liftgate. Dimmer switch for the interior gauges. Automatic high beams, you can turn them on or off here. Has a little indicator light. And then the traction control off button is here. Default is on, so this is the off button. It also has a tilt, telescoping steering column. You lock in place here. Sitting in the driver's seat, I'm 6 feet tall. To give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And I would say it's a little bit, like I could pull it up a little bit, but 6 feet tall, maybe a little bit over, should be no problem. Or of course, anybody under that, since it does have the height adjustment and all that stuff. So yeah, the leg room, the knee room is all good. No problems really. The footrest is also really good. So the footrest, I could put my big foot on there and it's no problem. Some vehicles have a little bit of an issue with that. So this one has instead of the SofTex steering wheel, it has the leather wrap steering wheel. And it feels pretty good. It's a little bit on the firm side. A little bit thinner here at the top, thicker at the bottom. And it has the paddle shifters on the back. Even though this has the eCVT, it does give you the ability to have control over the speed ratio in case you're going downhill or whatever, that kind of thing. So here on the bottom, you can see that. That's the volume for the radio, the voice recognition. Here on the right side is change to the tracks and the mode, which is your audio source. So you notice the bottom part is associated with the radio. Here on the right side, here on the top, this is the cruise control. Now this is the button to set and also to initiate the cruise control to begin with. So one button right there, and then you can change through the, like increase or decrease your speed. You can cancel. You can also adjust the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and also turn on the lane keep assist system, which is pretty decent. It doesn't fight with you. It doesn't really, you know, it's not really a problem. It actually works fairly well. Now, if you want to change to just a non-adaptive cruise control, you could do that with this button here. Here on the left side, this OK and these arrows and this back button corresponds with the screen here. We'll get to that in a second. And it does have the one button to answer calls or hang up. So you push the button to answer, and then you press it again to hold it, to hang up. I prefer the separate button to hang up, but that's the way they did it. Windshield wiper controls for the front and rear are here. It doesn't have any kind of automatic rain sensing or anything like that. Here on the left side is the turn signal, but it also has the headlight switch. You can turn off the DRLs. Automatic, parking, and headlights are here. And fog lights are controlled right there. So the gauge cluster is mostly a screen there in the center, but it also has the engine coolant temperature here, the fuel gauge, nice and big, easy to read, black background, white lettering, it pops out, easy to focus on, easy to see. So I like that. And now it gives you some relevant information since it is a hybrid, so like radii, EV, the state of the, like right now I have this digital speedometer, but I also have right here under it is the status of the all-wheel drive system. So as you're driving, it's mostly front-wheel drive, you know, and sometimes it'll kick in the rear-wheel drive, rear sometimes when you need it, when you accelerate hard, that kind of stuff. Here's the odometer, and here is the range. And so this little button right here, you can press that, and you can get your trip. So you have trip A, trip B, and then your time until it's time to change the oil, and then it goes back to the odometer. It's this little guy right here. But if we use these buttons here, I'm going to kind of scroll up and down so you can see what happens. So you can see these, like this center part right here is like a little menu system. So we can scroll through. We can go into different settings. We can see messages. We can see the status of the fuel economy, that kind of stuff. Adaptive cruise control mode, digital compass, whatever the radio is doing. And then your all-wheel drive system also has other stuff. So if I scroll right and left, it gives us our trip. And it gives us the energy monitor. Like you might notice this in a Prius, where it shows you where the energy is coming from and where it's going to. So sometimes the engine will run and then charge the battery. Sometimes the battery will only be charging, making the wheels go forward, you know, powering the wheels. Sometimes it's the engine powering the wheels and charging the battery. So it's constantly fluctuating as you're driving. It's not really noticeable. The engine actually isn't as loud as some other Toyotas. Some other Toyotas, the engine start up and it's like jarring. This one is not as bad. So I guess out of that space in the under the hood and maybe the insulation or something, they did a good job of isolating the noise for a Toyota or Lexus. It seems like Toyota and Lexus, usually the engines, when the engine cycles on and off, it's just a little bit jarring sometimes, but this one seems to be fine. Glad they're fixing that. So as you're driving, there's this little needle that goes up and down showing you what the status of your power, basically. So when you're driving, it comes up like this, and then if you're really accelerating hard, then it goes up to the power area. So you're really using a lot of energy. But when you're coasting or going downhill or braking, the little needle comes down into the charge range, where it's using that extra inertia, that extra energy to recharge the battery. So yeah, it's more efficient. You know, the hybrid system is way more efficient than a regular gas vehicle, and of course the full electric vehicles are the most efficient. So yeah, adding some electricity and having a battery to store that extra energy is really good idea. So this center screen, okay, so the first thing on the list is the navigation, but you notice it's not showing the navigation because if you go to set up the navigations for this vehicle, it requires you to download and install an app on your phone. And you might be thinking, why would they want me to download an app to use the navigation on the vehicle, right? Now there is some benefits to that, but one of the things is that if you read the privacy notice for Toyota, or pretty much any vehicle that requires you to have an application on your phone and accept a bunch of terms, if you read the privacy notice when you do that, you'll understand why they force you to use an app. I'll just say that. Okay, so the next one here is, maybe I should do a video on that. If you want me to make a video on the privacy notices and why they make you use apps, let me know, because it's pretty detailed and it's pretty alarming. Okay, so this is whatever your radio is doing. So there's different sources here, and so you have the radio here. It has a satellite radio, AM, FM. Of course, the Bluetooth radio, that kind of stuff. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You can pair your phones here, and then you can have information about your vehicle, fuel economy, trip range, that kind of stuff. And then the last one is your settings. And you can go in here and adjust all these settings. Now there is a physical volume knob, which a lot of people enjoy. And so, okay, so this has the climate control, dual zone, driver, passenger, which I've synced right now, the temperatures. So you can see they're the same temperatures, but also if you want to unsync them, you can press this button, or just simply just turning this knob will unsync it. And it has this little visualizations here for the fan speed, where the air is blowing or where you want the air to blow. Recirculate the air. You can also have the air just blow in the front, not the back. Front and rear defrosters are here, and when you turn on the rear defroster, that's when it turns on the heated side mirrors. You do have an eco heat and cool if you'd like to use that, and it saves a tiny bit of energy. Of course, you can turn the full system off here. And there is an automatic function. You just press that button, set the temperature, and it does everything for you. That's very convenient. Sometimes the fan blows a little bit loud, so I do bring it down sometimes, but you know, when you have it on automatic, it does a pretty good job, basically. The only thing is, sometimes when it's super hot, when the engine's not running, it feels like the air conditioner isn't quite as cold. You know, it takes a long time to cool down and stuff like that, even with this eco off. Okay, so down here you have heated seats for the driver and passenger as high, low, and then off, so it's just two-stage heated seat. Driver and passenger, USB port, USB-C port here as well. And then there is a wireless charger right in here, and my cell phone fits in there fairly well, and hadn't had any problem with it charging even with the case on. It's kind of deep in there, but it gets it out of the way, and it has this little notch there for a wire if you need to plug it in. Alright, it does have the drive modes right here, and it has Sport, Normal, and Eco. And Sport, actually Normal is pretty good. I mean, you don't really have to put it in Sport mode. It's not that weak in Normal mode. It's fine. And then you can force the EV part. Like if you just want to have electric driving, like let's say, you know, you're running late and you do want to sneak in the driveway without making a big spectacle, you can put on EV mode and you can just quietly go in there. That kind of stuff. So yeah, you can kind of force it into use. If there's enough battery level, then it will give you the ability to do that. Okay, so here's the shifter, and it's pretty straightforward. Go ahead and put it in reverse. You see the backup camera. You see the active guidelines there as well. And since the camera position, you can see it's kind of like a little bit offset. So the guidelines are supposed to kind of accommodate for that. And also seeing the bumper and stuff like that is, you know, be a little bit better if it was in a higher, more center position, in my opinion. Now you do have the more linear view, and then you have the more wide view like this. So there's the more linear view. Wide view, actually, when you get used to this is really handy because you can see both ways behind the vehicle. It does a really good job of really stretching it out, and you can see everywhere once you get used to this view. It looks kind of weird at first, but it is really handy sometimes. And of course you can turn the active guidelines off if you want to here. So you can see the center line. You can see it's over here. Right there, because it's accommodating for that offset of the camera. Alright, continuing on, there's neutral, drive. You can bump it over here to standard mode, in which you can use the paddle shifters, or you can use the shifter here to change to the gears. So it'll show here what gear it is. And it's not really gears, it's a CVT system, so it's more accurately called speed ratios. Alright, and then it has the electronic parking brake, which it has it set to automatically engage, and it engages the rear wheels. But if you need to disengage it, you can hold the brake and push down on it, or you can pull up on it. I like the way it has a little light right there. It has the auto hold feature as well, like if you want it to hold the brake for you when you come to a complete stop, whether you're at a traffic light or whatever, you can have that on as well. There's some cup holders, and you know, they're good. They're in a good location actually, but I wish I had like little arms or something to keep the bottles from wobbling around. Not a huge deal, but you know. And also, one good thing about not having those little arms is that you can utilize this a little bit better for other things besides cups and bottles and stuff. This armrest right here is once again like hard as a rock. It's like if you take a rag and lay it over an anvil. That's how soft it is. So yeah, these aren't not really the best as far as your elbows. Now when you release this there's like a little latch right here. When you release it, it slaps back down. It doesn't stay up very easy. You have to go all the way back and then press it into place to stay there. Now there is a USB-C and a 12-volt power supply. I got my business cards in the way. But there's a little felt-lined pocket at the bottom, which I would replace with a white felt so I can see in there a little bit better. But as it is, it's pretty good because it's not very deep. It's not like a huge pocket or anything. But yeah, it does slap back down. Now it does have places for wires to go in and out of this compartment here and here. So when it slaps down, it doesn't damage your wires. Because some wires are expensive, if you've noticed. It does have the manual day and night mode for the rearview mirror. Up here is the, you have lights, reading lights, turn on all the interior lights here, have them turn on with the door or not. And then you have these buttons here for the sunroof. We'll get to that in a minute. And then you have roadside assistance button here, which is covered up so you don't accidentally press it. The visor, it does have a little mirror and a light. It is a vinyl, black vinyl material. The headliner is like a cloth. And then, so this is, I like the way they had the vinyl because when you're touching it, it's easy to get like a buildup of, you know, dirt or whatever on it. So it's very easy to clean when it's a vinyl. If it's a cloth, then it's a little bit harder to clean. Now it does not like slide out, but it has this additional little extension here. So when you're putting it here on the side, it kind of helps, you know, but the sun can definitely, you know, get in the way. So I usually like the extension instead of the sliding, but this one is a little bit not working all that great. Okay, so the sunroof has a shade that covers 100% of the light. You can open it up here. Now let's go ahead and tilt it up. There's a button on the right that tilts it. Tilt it down, and then we can slide it using the button on the left. Press it again. Goes a little bit further back. So yeah, it opens up pretty good. Looking at the visibility here in the back, you can see the pillars are quite wide, and the headrests kind of line up with them. And there's a little window back there, but it's not really hadn't had much of an issue as far as visibility. Just kind of looking over my shoulder and looking in the side mirrors, driving the vehicle, rear view mirror, all that stuff. Really not an issue with visibility. It's just one of those things you have to get used to, the pillars back there. But really with the camera system, parking sensors, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection system, you know, it has a lot of technology to help you out, but just in general, even without it, it's fine. I hadn't had any issues at all, really, with driving this vehicle. One of the things that a lot of people take for granted, including me, is this little space right here. Some vehicles don't have that space. They have the side mirror too close, and there's no gap. And it adds this pillar blind spot with the side mirror, and it has this huge area in which you could potentially, you know, cause a problem with visibility sometimes in certain situations. So that little gap right there, I would really do appreciate that when they do have that there, because you really miss it when it's not there. So driving this vehicle, one of the things I noticed, it's so easy to steer the steering wheel. It has the electronic steering wheel, steering system, and it's just so easy. You can zip around in parking lots easy. It has a really good turning radius here. And it is nice, especially when the engine, okay, so the engine just started, and you notice it's not that loud. I've been kind of critical of some of the Toyotas and Lexus, where it's like the engine's too loud. This one, I'm glad to hear that it is not that loud. It just turns on and off, and it's not really a big deal. You can hear it, but it's not like jarring, you know. It's fairly decent. It's overall like fairly quiet vehicle. I just love the way you can just zip around with very little effort. And yeah, it's the CVT experience, you know. Some people like it. I don't really mind the CVT systems myself, but some people don't really care for it. Now it's like the Toyota Prius, and that is pretty reliable system. So we got a little bit of road noise, but cruising along, you don't really hear the engine. Let's go and turn the cruise control on. Lane keep assist system. Make sure that's on. And once it sees the lines on the road, which is actually seeing them now, even though the lines aren't all that great, it'll tell you with a little green light right there and everything, and it does a decent job of keeping you within the lane without fighting you too much. It has a little bit of a tug here and there, but it's probably just to make sure that you're holding the steering wheel. And it has compared to the Corolla, it has a much more softer suspension. It's not like a floaty suspension or anything, but it feels pretty good. It depends on the road. Some roads, it just, you know, the way it's not like a real high-end suspension, so you feel a little jostling here and there, a little unnecessary jostling, but it's not really a big deal. I mean, for the type of vehicle it is, and all the qualities that it has, I think they did a well-rounded good job. You can notice, you can hear the engine a little bit, you know, here and there, depending on how you accelerate. All right, so let's go ahead and bring this up a little bit. This is a fairly smooth road, so it's not like it's, you know, testing the suspension system or anything. But just to give you an idea of what the potential, you know, cruising pleasure would be like on a nice, smooth country road here. You can hear a little bit of wind noise, a little bit of road noise. The engine is subdued pretty good when we're just at, you know, just kind of cruising like this. We're not rapidly accelerating or anything. The lane keep assist system is keeping me within the lane. I'm not fighting it or anything like that. Or I'm not, you know, like some vehicles, you let go of the steering wheel and it goes flying off in left field, you know. This is weird sometimes. Some vehicles are like that. So yeah, this one, the features that it has tend to work well, you know. And can't say that for all Toyotas, but this one in particular is doing pretty good. And I was very impressed with it, driving it. When I first got in, I was like, you know what? For a lot of people, this would check a lot of boxes, because you have a decent amount of room for family room. You have cargo space. If you need to go to, you know, like the hardware store, you can fold the seats down, get mulch or whatever put back there. You have the roof rails, and you have decent fuel economy. And of course, it's not a race car, so for a daily commuter, family vehicle, reliability, economic vehicle. And I mean, me personally, I like the way it looks. If you like the way it looks, then that checks that box too. So yeah, there's a lot of boxes checked with this Toyota Corolla Cross, this vehicle. So it's like a crossover. So yeah, I would have no problem recommending this vehicle to a lot of people. Now, of course, it has to be within your price range, but you know, for what it is, the price is reasonable, I would say. Especially if you can get one a little bit of a discount, you know, here and there. Right in here is a little bit bumpier. And you can hear the rougher road. But the bumps aren't really an issue. I mean, the places I've driven this vehicle, you know, some roads are, you know, the back roads and stuff like that, they're just kind of like wavy and all this stuff, which pretty much any vehicle you drive on those you're gonna feel it. But this one's actually holding up pretty good as far as the ride quality. It's just not, you know, it's not going to be the most quiet vehicle, but compared to other Toyotas, this one's actually pretty good.